So they might not be intense with you. They might just be quiet.
Well, I mean,
and
my
you're just like,
grandpa was the same way.
I just want to hear it. What can I do to hear it? What can I do for you to say out loud that you're proud of me? You know, and then you just don't get it.
Dude, it's funny you say, like, I was talking to my wife 2 nights ago before we came down here. It's like, I'll have conversations with my 10-year-old now. It's going to sound fucking cheesy. That I'm proud of because I'm having. Because I'll be 3/4 of the way through this and I'm like, my father never had a conversation like this with me. Never. He never sat down and asked me to.
Bro, so bring that home right now. Like, that's the biggest thing.
Right? Yeah. It's like, I want her to be in such a better spot than I am. And I think if I just say it, if I'm just open completely, like, dude, I don't know how to fucking do this, man. You're my first kid. Yeah. Like, I'm learning this day by day, and I'm trying to help you as much as I can. You got to talk to me, and we'll have a conversation just like this.
That's so fucking cool.
And I'm like, fuck, man, I wish that I had a version of me back in 1985 that would sit down and, like, truly gave a fuck. Like, I truly care now.
Yeah.
And I'll walk down and I'm like, dude, I just had the best conversation with her. And it's like, it makes you feel proud. Like, I stopped what I was doing. I got off that goddamn telephone.
I swear to God, I don't think I've ever had a conversation like that with my dad in my whole life.
Dude,
I
you'll
see it with your kids. Like,
I didn't either.
Welcome to the Raw You podcast. That's how we're going to start.
All right.
Welcome, DJ and Cole. We had a shitty Zoom beginning to this podcast, but now we're here in person. So I'm glad we could actually meet and be face to face and not have that lag of that shit. But we've been training, shooting, doing some cool shit. Stuff will be on our YouTube videos. So it's been fun hanging out with you guys. Now we're just going to kind of share some stuff. So Dom's question was just how we'll roll into this.
No, I appreciate having us down and the time. It's been great.
Yeah, dude, it's humbling. The operation you guys got going is fucking serious.
Thank
dude.
you, bro. Appreciate it.
You guys hide it really well. Yeah, the energy, the culture in here is infectious. Like, you feel it when you walk through the door. Mm-hmm. You know, the gym has it. I mean, everything. Yeah. Yesterday doing the treatments, getting the IVs and stuff. Like,
we got an awesome staff over there too.
You do, man.
Yeah.
First class. Yeah. Everything.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you, man.
Really impressive.
We understand the hard work.
Yeah.
To an extent, but that's impressive.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody seems to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It takes a lot. I mean, you know, it's people, right? I mean, I think we've talked about that before, but like, if we didn't have the right people, it wouldn't move. It wouldn't run. So we're super grateful that we have a good team. And, you know, unfortunately we've had to let a lot of people go because they were like infectious to the I guess you could say, like, the aura that we have here. And it happens quick, right? You get one bad person in here and then you get people pinning against each other and you're like, fuck. But we try to protect that with everything that we have.
A lot of people have kind of weeded themselves out too.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Not even in a bad way, but like some people don't fit in.
Yeah.
We expect a lot out of people, but we also give a lot to our people, and the ones that don't fit in don't last. And it's kind of made our team what it is right now, where everyone fits in. It rolls really strong.
Yeah.
It's good to see, man.
Yeah, man.
You want to get into
you want me to like repeat it?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess my question is, we talked earlier and you said that if GBRS didn't work, you were going to start doing contracting or something else, right? And you said that was it. And I'm sure there's a ton of people, especially who get out of the military, who are trying to find like whatever it is that they're going to be great at or whatever the next thing in their life is. And we've talked about how it's hard to go from, you know, doing this to going to a normal job. How was that for you? And like, how did you think of GBRS and how did that come to fruition?
So we'll kind of kick it off in kind of reverse. I just finished my last deployment in 2018.
Okay.
Got hurt, started doing a bunch of surgeries, and then all the Band-Aids started to kind of unwind. Cole had already transitioned out. He was at training command, but he was doing real estate.
Okay.
And, you know, I'll let him get into it, but was fucking killing it. Right, so I think the teams were kind of in his rearview mirror already. And internally, he was already kind of transitioning out of that where I was still very much in it. And now an injury kind of sidelined me and some other shit was going on. I had to go to rehab, figure out how many meds we were on. Now we had to do a med washout. And it was like, really reality started to set in. Like, this is on my downslope right now. And really just rock bottom. Like, I was in a hospital for 31 days, like inpatient on a med detox to come off all the meds we were on.
How many pills were you taking a day, you said?
64 a day.
64 medications.
Yeah, no.
That's
all day.
insane.
And, you know, when I tell guys on it, it's not like I was abusing them. I was taking them as prescribed.
Sure.
But when you're taking that many meds 3-4 times a day, you're under the influence of some sort of opiate, antidepressant, something masking what you truly are 24/7, 365. And when you do it for an entire year, I don't care if it's a baby aspirin or not, you're not truly sober. It's altering your mental state. And at some point, now we have uppers, downers, in-betweens. You have a bunch of different shit. And I mean, there's a significant portion of the highlight of my life that I don't recall.
So what point of your life, like when you were doing that, were you like aware of it? It wasn't right away, I'm assuming, right?
No, it's really hindsight being 2020, looking back and realizing how bad it was, because you don't realize when you're in the suck. It's kind of like,
that's what I'm saying,
you just have to make it.
Sure.
Just make it the next day, make it the next day. And luckily for me, like I wasn't really abusing booze. I didn't need to. It's because I was fucking stoned all day.
Yeah.
Like just, copious amounts of tramadol and just everything else, just over and over and over. And when they washed me out, that was like my baseline to zero. So now I'm sober for the first time. And it's like, oh my God. Like I'm in so much pain. I need all these operations. It's like 5 years of surgery stacked up. And they started to medically retire me. And through that transition, I had an opportunity to contract with one of the agencies. So I'm going to do that, finish all the pipeline. I'm skydiving full time. I'm making my transition. And right before I got medically retired, we had started Tribe Skates as it was like an art therapy aspect for me.
Okay.
But he's like, well, if it makes him a little bit of money, some pocket change, like maybe that'll float him. And it kind of just started going. And GBRS was an attempt to save me from contracting.
Okay.
Like that was really just him extending an olive branch. Like, well, how much money would you need? Like if you were, like how much would it cost you not to contract? And with retirement, it was like, dude, if I could pull 100 G's a year stateside, I don't need a contract.
Sure.
Like I don't need to live this extravagant life. I need to be able to put my kids in a better position than where I was in.
Yeah.
Right, like I'm not trying to be greedy. This is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's really where the conversation started. But I mean, I had that injury right before I retired. I was supposed to retire August 31st, and on Father's Day in 2019, I got electrocuted. So it's like all the contracting things, everything we were going to do. It's like, nah, brother. Like now we're stuck.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting in the catwalk holding plates up because I can't put weight on my collarbone. I've got all the plates. I'm beat up. But this is the only source of income I have. Like GBRS couldn't pay.
Sure.
Tribe Skates has never paid us.
Sure.
We just gave it back to people to help them out.
Sure.
It's like, well, now I'm drowning. Like now we're fucked. And the conversation kind of started to roll. And luckily we had some really good mentors. And we do September 19?
September 6th, 19.
Started GBRS. And it was really just focused around CQB. I had a full-time gig teaching MARSOC guys military freefall. So we'd go out, we'd do that. I was teaching CQB for one of the tier units. But I was living a really, I see a manageable lifestyle, just contracting a lot on the road. And I really didn't want that because it's not really for me. It's like it's nothing we own. That was just to meet to the end until we could actually start GBRS and make some money.
Sure.
And as soon as we did that, it's like, okay, I can't do the contracting thing. I'm too broken. I've missed 2 cycles. I'm going to shelf that. We're not going to talk about contracting. Let's go all in on GBRS. And as soon as we pulled the trigger, I told those guys, I'm not doing the contracting, not doing this. We're going to do GBRS. COVID hit. Like, so there's no one to teach. There's no flat range to go to. No one can train. No one has any fucking money. And we're just sitting there like, this is all I have, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he still had real estate he could fall back on. Really, I don't have anything right now. Like, we're jammed up. And we had a really good mentor at the time that had a really extensive marketing background and came down and gave us a crash course on how to build a brand. And T-shirts, soft good lines, open up social media. This is what we're going to have to do in the meantime.
Yep.
It's like you realize you can sell enough T-shirts to do twice as much you will in training.
Isn't it crazy how, like, what you think you're going to do in a business and, like, what it actually turns into are totally different things, kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I think kind of from my side of it, I was kind of going through a similar schedule on it, getting medically retired. Accidentally got into real estate from my mother-in-law, and I really enjoyed the deal-making side of it.
Sure.
It meant a lot to me because I felt like my interactions with real estate, I wasn't really getting the protection and the foresight into, making some of the most expensive purchases in your life.
Sure.
And, our 20-plus year friendship. And I had a good amount of mentors that throughout kind of my career, kind of always pushing me to think about, like, what do I want to do, business-related stuff. When we started GBRS, we started it in Tribe Skates' office. Like, the overhead was nothing. We wanted to provide training and lessons learned that we had learned and pass on to the next generation. And what we learned in the military and the command was, like, we always leveraged, like, the best talent in anything we wanted to do. And it gave us the quickest learning curve. We didn't have to learn the same lessons that, like, the majority of people learn. So it shortened our learning curve on that. But it was like we went into it all in. Like, our lives did depend on it. our families
For sure.
did, and like we're gonna figure out a way how to make it work. It's like we had a good mindset, we had good mentors, starting GBRS, the branding, all that stuff, and it's like who could have predicted COVID? And we were lucky we weren't leveraged. We could say no. We didn't have to do what we didn't want to do. I remember we went to SHOT Show in 2020, not knowing if anyone would think that we added value. That went really well, surprisingly.
So how was that that experience? You just guys went.
That was
started
our
it
first
talking
time.
about?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was our first time going to SHOT Show. And
And you went like as GBRS? Did you have a booth there or you just walked
No,
in?
just walked.
Just walked it, but like
Okay.
we're wearing the brand. But at the time, I had my face pixelated, so no one knew. No one knew what I looked like.
Sure.
We had another partner in there, so it's like we started social media and it was exploding, but no one ever got to interact with us.
And was that like like the face pixelation in the beginning was
So that was in case GBRS didn't actually go. I still had an opportunity
To go back.
to contract,
got it.
right? Like, if
Probably
COVID
was a great marketing tactic too.
exactly.
Fucking
Yeah, it was a
badass
mistake.
marketing
Like,
tactic.
that thing caught on. I swear, the entire industry now, like,
Bro, there's
you'll
a
see
whole
people's faces
Instagram
blurred,
that
everything.
does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody does
Yeah.
it now, and it's like, I mean, it was cool. Like we made soft good lines over it, everything
Yeah.
else. But it's really like, happy accidents. If you actually become famous on social media and it crashes, you can't really do a lot of these contracts.
Of course, yeah.
You can't do
They'll
it.
know
It's
you.
like, but if he becomes famous, he can sell the shit out of houses. So
Sure.
it's like, it's kind of an upswing, but like really we're all in. So he stopped doing real estate. The other guy quit his job, and we're like, well, this is what we're doing. Hammer
Yeah.
down. Yeah, we went to SHOT Show, man. The fanfare we received was great.
Fuck yeah.
Like big name companies. It's like Ford coming up, like, hey, you want to drive our cars? Like,
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, it's humbling, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was just no matter what speed bumps we ran into, it was like we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna let it crumble us. And 2020, I mean, the whole even today, huge learning curves, but we're always open. We weren't stuck in our ways. Just kind of navigating through the industry, business, learning all that different stuff, everything from products, manufacturing, deals, social media. Because that's the other thing. Like, we avoided cameras. We were never on social media.
This
Had no
is
idea
a
how
huge
that shit worked.
transition for sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we did everything on an iPhone. We didn't know how
Yeah.
to do this shit.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to post what a fucking hashtag was,
Yeah.
ideal posting. I didn't know any of that. It's literally all just made up. Like, we talked to one guy and he said, well, this is what I do. He said, works for me. All right, let's try this. Just try that, trial and error over and over and over. Had to get shadow banned. Now we get kicked off of social media.
That
Had
was
to
what
get
I
it
was
back.
going to ask, because you guys are in an industry where it's tough to like not get basically shadow banned by social media platforms.
We have to, I mean, well, the one thing we do that nobody else does is we operate in a bunch of different verticals. That we kind of self-define as a universal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's not just a one-trick
For
pony.
sure.
You're not just
Yeah.
a firearms instructor.
Yeah.
It's like we push fitness, mental health,
Sure.
the community, everything, being a pro, just
Yeah.
every facet of your life. It's like when you attach to that many different verticals, you can post that many different things. It's like we can go on a content rant for, 4 consecutive posts over and over, have nothing to do with gun related.
Sure.
Go straight into fitness, and we go straight into products. Like, we
Sure.
haven't touched a gun for 4 months. Because you don't have to be that one guy. We still push it. We still promote it. And for the end users, we want you to be, confident and comfortable holding a firearm. But it's like you can't let it define you, because they'll cripple your business. And
For
like,
sure,
it's so
yeah.
unfair that there's some 20-year-old kid sitting at Meta that can go,
Nope.
nope, not
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
It's like, brother, I got 75 people working here. Like, people are moving across the country. Like, you're going to ruin this whole business right now because you can't.
Because you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a hard thing to wrap our heads around. Like, I didn't do anything to you.
Too much control. They have way too much control.
Well, but it's like, we don't get on the weird side of things.
No, I know.
We don't do that gun
Of
porn
course not.
shit.
Yeah,
We do
yeah.
everything.
But
utmost professionalism.
unfortunately, you're like put in a category,
Exactly.
right? And that category doesn't really define what you guys are at all.
Yeah.
But to the naked eye of a person who has no fucking clue about any of this stuff,
Yeah.
they just look at a huge jack dude with fucking tattoos holding, a gun or, in one post, and it's like, nope, see you later.
It's like the dogs at the office.
Yeah, man.
One good dog can be there, but as soon as you bring 10 dogs and one of them is a bad dog, no dogs are allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it sucks.
I mean, I think naturally too, talking about being shadow banned is like, I say naturally because we didn't whiteboard it, we didn't plan it, but we started having different verticals. So it wasn't, training was the only thing, because if training went away and that marketing went away, like, we crumble. And naturally kind of figured out, like, I called it a diversified cash flow portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we weren't like hemorrhaging on one side or the other, and
Yeah.
they kind of ebbed and flowed, and we can kind of pay attention to certain ones and push more, especially during shadow bans and things like that. And the strategic partnerships. We had, say, brand guidelines. We had ultimately what we were willing to do and not do. And we weren't going to sit there and be like, this is what our past is, and this is why you should do business with us.
Sure.
I was like, this is what we want to do, and we want to align ourselves with the same kind of brands and add value, and same kind of culture and environment.
I think from the outside looking in, people don't realize how many like facets of the GBRS there are. Because you have like this whole fitness aspect of it, you have the mental health aspect of it, you have the courses, right? Then you have the fitness, and then you have the, what is it called? Patriot.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like kind of like 5 or 6 little businesses within itself.
Yeah. Soft goods, hard goods. I mean,
Yeah.
all of it.
I mean, the product thing was our first project, and that Hydra mount started February of 2020.
And that was the first item, besides soft goods. You had T-shirts and shit.
No, we didn't have anything. This was February
t-shirts.
of 2020, and we had no idea how to do anything. Drew it out on a napkin. He came back from a training thing. We started adding mounts on mounts, and like, we knew we were onto something. We had no idea how to actually make that something into something like real. That's why it took 2 years.
So when you did it, like the mount, and you had all the connections already from, I'm assuming, just you didn't have any connections at that point. You just built them out.
Everything was ground up. We had to find people that can manufacture, find people that can do CAD, find an IP attorney. I mean, all the way through.
And you did that all. It the mount is made here.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be made here.
Yep.
Because the people were selling to the military, it's got to be very compliant.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, like nothing's ever been done like that before. It's a very
Was it controversial when you first made it?
Yeah. It
Because
still
like
is.
when I first because when I first saw it, I was like, damn, like how the fuck does that work? And then you put it on my gun, and I was like, holy fuck, this is incredible.
Well, it's like people don't realize that thing is made for a very specific end use.
Yeah.
Really, guys that shooting with gas masks, guys that are wearing kit,
Sure.
doing CQB. I like it because the way it puts my spine.
Well, sitting straight up. You're not like tucked down, whatever. It just feels better.
It makes it more comfortable. It makes it more applicable for movement.
Yeah.
Right. And people don't realize because they shoot with these optics on a borderline. Like, well, this is what so and so does. Put a helmet with night vision on.
Yeah.
You literally can't drop it because the tubes stick out 8 inches
Sure,
in front of your face.
sure.
You can't get it on the borderline.
Yeah.
I was like, so explain it to me. But you got a bunch of 16-year-olds that talk shit on the internet.
Of course.
Listen to me, dudes. Like, I've been running around my entire adult life with this idiot doing some really dynamic shit with those fucking carbines. I didn't invent this thing to be a gimmick. Like, I can shoot whatever I want to, anything on this earth, any platform I want to, and I wish I had that. That would have made me better. It would. And when you put gas mask and night vision on and run around with it, there is no dispute.
Is the goal to have that? Does the military use it yet or no?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's global.
Oh,
A lot of
everybody's using
the
it.
high-end Tier 1 units around the world use it.
That has to be the coolest feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Especially when they write
Like it has to be the cool. I have goosebumps.
The
thinking
bad
about
feedback that we got, or I won't say bad feedback, but the loud, noisy social media, we knew we were going to get it, but we were still,
gives a
we
fuck?
100% believed in it. We're like,
Yeah.
we don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not for you. Don't get it.
Well,
Yeah.
The thing that kills us is, because we're still at the stage where we still read the comments, we still do all this shit.
Of
Someone
course,
see
yeah.
the engagement, and I'll click on this, and it'll be this review that I can't believe you're writing it, all the shit you're doing on why you shouldn't get this thing, and you click on his profile, and it's like Jefferson High School, class of 2032, and
Yeah. Like an internet, YouTube,
What the
gun
fuck?
warrior.
like, dude, you're a child that plays Call of Duty, man. But the issue with that is you're clogging up the airways because you do get SWAT team guys, you
100%.
get military guys that are in the comment section. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, Jackalope, blah, 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 says this thing doesn't work. He's like, nah, I'm not using it. Shoot it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, shoot it first, put a gas mask on and shoot the thing and tell me it's not easier.
We have this poster in the office of Kobe Bryant, and a portion on that poster, the saying says they don't hate the good ones, they hate the great ones.
Sure.
And it's like, if people don't hate you, you aren't doing something right.
It's
like you're
totally
going to have
true.
haters.
Yeah.
You will.
I don't-
I'll probably be concerned.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I agree. Like, I definitely think that. I think those people. I don't really think that they hate though. I think it's more of like they didn't get to do it, so not the same thing, right? Like, but they didn't get to experience like the life or whatever it is that you guys get to experience, and I think they just don't understand. I've dealt with it a lot. I'm sure you deal with it a lot, but it's like people just don't get it. They don't understand what it takes. They don't understand what goes into it before it happens, and I think they're just jealous fucking people.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nobody that's ever better than you that talks shit while they're climbing the hill in front of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like the people that are always better, they're always trying to lean down and help you up.
Yeah.
So it's people at the base of the hill talking shit to you on your way up.
Yeah.
At a certain point, I'm never going to be able to hear you. Your echo won't be loud enough. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
going. No,
you're absolutely
we're going
right.
away.
That's hard to do though,
It is hard
especially
to
when you're trying to build a brand. Because one of those assholes, you know, is preventing probably 5 or 10 people from buying your product because they're reading a review and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like I told him, like I try to structure my day to protect my energy level. Just having negativity around me, like I'm so much more susceptible to this bullshit now. By just sitting there and getting in my feels, reading this bullshit, and like now I want to respond. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. It's like, nah, I can't.
Were you ever like typing something like you mother, and you just like delete it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like, okay, motherfucker. Like video responses. Here we go. Like, I can't send this 13-year-old. Right, like I'm halfway through it. I'm like, dude, keep talking shit. I'll be your stepdad by Thursday.
I know where you fucking live.
Yeah, like, hey brother, I'll be your stepdad by Thursday. Don't fuck around with me. Don't make me come over there. Yeah, dude, like it's crazy. But at the end of the day, I told him it's like good problems to have, dude.
No, of course,
like,
yeah.
It's good problems to have.
Half the problem is these kids probably have only shot guns on Call of Duty.
Yeah, man.
You know
it's
what
like
I mean?
First world problems.
Yeah.
Like this shit is. It's the best spot we've ever been in. Like,
Yeah.
as bad as it is, as stressful as it is, like it's amazing.
It was cool building the team. I mean, it happened really organic. Like,
I mean, we had Vernon. Vernon was our strength conditioning coach when we were going through that medical retirement process.
Okay.
He worked at a clinic that you heard of Exos, right?
Yes.
It's essentially like a commando version of Exos.
Yes.
But they give you the diet. I mean, you're in there for 4 straight weeks.
Sure.
And I was when Vernon got me, man, I was 100. He's got a picture. I'll have him break it out. 175, 180 pounds. I mean, just I came out 30-day inpatient. He got me at ground zero, just depressed. I wanted to fucking kill myself. I'm still on a bunch of different meds now. And when he got me, we basically rebuild from there. By the time I walked out of that clinic 12 weeks later, I was 230.
No shit.
Oh yeah, dude. I ate 6 times a day. I stuck to the plan. Like on the biodex, 7% body fat. 230. Like you fucking freak, dude. But that was him. Like day in and day out. And it's like, well, I'm just paying for this shit now. I took every ounce of money I had and I threw it in, and we just never stopped. I haven't missed a session with him in 5 years. It's like he's done more for me mentally than he ever has physically.
He is so talented.
Oh, dude, you wait till you uncrack him. He's amazing. But like he had him too. And he stepped out of that business right when we were starting GBRS.
So what is he doing now?
He does what he does for us. He's got a bunch of different programs, but
Sure.
then he goes out with all these fucking high-end athletes.
Yeah.
So NFL, MLB, NBA.
Does he live by you guys?
Yep, like a mile down the road from me.
Okay.
So he's in our office Monday through Friday.
Sure.
And
So he
travels
trains with you guys every morning.
every morning, Monday through Friday.
Got it.
So we shoot all the content together. We push our fitness program, and then he goes out. He does lectures, tactical strength and conditioning conferences. He's a keynote speaker. I mean, he does all that. He was just out in UCLA with whatever the team captain for Chelsea is. That crazy fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he goes everywhere with everybody, dude.
That's so cool.
But he's got great energy. So when he's in there, everybody gets better.
Yeah.
It's like then you see the mental health aspect. The best I've ever been is when my physical readiness meets my mindset.
They're
It's like,
totally connected.
Yeah.
I mean, you speak on that too, Chris, more than anybody.
right? It's like Vernon, I feel, is so good at fostering that because he's got good energy. He never comes in. It's like in his feels like poor me. Like he's always lifting the entire group up, and you can watch it just consecutive win day after day of just being around positivity.
For sure.
Fuck, man, I just want more of this.
Yeah.
And he's always dropping one-liners, man. Battery
He's
chargers
fucking
and drainers.
hilarious, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. He's like people walk into a room and they immediately start charging the whole room and they start draining the whole
Sure.
room. It's like now that I see it, it's like I can't unsee it.
I think that I would say, and I want to know if you guys agree with this, but like the number one thing I think that changed my life was getting rid of negativity in my life and bringing around people who are the total opposite, like just totally positive. Like I don't care if it's like even like overly optimistic. I would rather have those people in my life than have people who are like pessimistic in my life.
That's how I am.
yeah, that shit's draining.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I have people in my life that are like very overly optimistic and they're like, you know, and I'm like, great, I love that. Like probably won't happen, but I would rather have you here than have someone else here that's just a fucking asshole and miserable all day.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes those are the people you need to watch out for, though. You need to look out for them because that overly optimism. No one's perfectly optimistic all the time.
Agreed.
You know?
Totally agree.
Sometimes you got to be like, all right, you're gonna have a bad day, and you got to give them space to have a bad day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't want them to bring it into the room in the gym and shit, but have them space to understand that.
Yeah, and
They
being
can
able
have
to
that.
mentally deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where the mental health aspect comes in, right? Like you're going to have bad days, they're going to suck, and you have to figure out how to be able to manage that and not put everyone in the room around you in a bad fucking mood because you're not in a good mood.
Yeah, we really tried to understand that too, because kind of come from our last community. That shit can, like you were talking about, like toxic people. It can grow at any sort of level, and again, understand bad days, but having empathy and understanding like how much we gave up from our families and our kids and giving that understanding within our company too. And nurturing the growth, like seeing the potential in somebody, they need some coaching or polishing, and like being patient with them.
Yeah.
But it's like long term, seeing that real potential, it's crazy to see. I mean, I'm sure you guys see it. Like you'll come across people, like this is a talented person.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
I've had people that have worked for me that, I hate to say it like this, but they were the most talented individuals I've ever met in my life that we've had to let go because they just weren't good for other people in a room with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sucks. It's one of the hardest things that you have to do because you like, it's gonna negatively affect your company by letting this person go. But at the same time, you know, it's gonna really negatively affect your company if you let them stay there and just fuck everybody up in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy as the crown, man.
At what point did you guys like, when you guys came out, I'm assuming, right? Like mental health is something you guys didn't really talk about much in the military, right? It was more so like you kind of keep that shit to yourself. You don't say anything. And then at what point did you guys openly start speaking about it? And like, I'm assuming that's when a lot of people gravitated towards you guys because they were like, we feel the exact same fucking way.
Well, I'll back up. Like, I think we were all in a pretty rough spot 2019, 2021. Like transitioning, I would say for veterans is pretty rough.
Yeah. How does that feel? Honestly,
I mean, you'll
for
see
real.
them
No, I
kind
wanna
of go a bunch of different ways. You know, you come into the real world.
Sure.
And this is actually something I want to bring up. So they kind of, I say they like within inside the community, they're like, oh, when you guys get out, $300,000-$400,000 job a year easy.
That's what they tell you when you're in.
Oh yeah, they're like, everybody won't hire you. That is not the fucking truth. They might want to pay you 60, maybe. Like you might get your foot in the door because your background, but you got to perform.
And unfortunately, you have zero transferable skills. The only thing you've done for 20 years is hunt humans. That's it. I can't fucking work an Excel spreadsheet. I can't do any of that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be the best at PowerPoint, dude.
No.
So you have a very limited skill set. I think the transferable thing is your mindset.
Sure.
And your ability to stick to the actual progression. So it's like, team guys learn shit, but yeah, man, when you get out, I told you yesterday, I felt so victimized because all these fucking people, he's like, bro, $1,000 a day, grows on trees, this is what it's going to be, $500,000 a year, 100%, this is what everybody does, this guy, Goldman Sachs. I don't want to fucking work at Goldman Sachs, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? And he's like, you get a job contract, $1,000 a day. Easy. You be on the road as many days as you want to a year. Like, okay. Well, if I match what I do in the teams, they pay me $1,000 a day, bro. I'm pulling in $400,000 or $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like, oh, saddle me up. Let's go.
Yeah.
That shit doesn't exist. No.
I mean, we were grinding too. We know how to work hard, but that's one big surprise being entrepreneurs. Like that shit doesn't turn off ever. It's like 48-hour days, and people only see the success. They never see the hard work.
Yeah.
And like kind of going back to the original question, like 19, 20, 21, definitely all of us in a rough spot. We ended up going to Mexico. That probably changed everything. Yeah.
That's what you told me about, right?
Yeah, dude. We went down with that. So it's a team guy of ours and his wife. They started a 501c3 to raise funds for this. Long story short, you fill out a grant if you're from the special operations community. They fund it. They send you down there and they do pre-integration. So some coaching with a licensed therapist. This is what the experience is going to be like. They kind of build you up into it. Then you fly to San Diego. They drive you across the border and put you in this beautiful Airbnb that they manage, full staff, multiple nurses, cardiologists, the whole thing. And you do a series of events, but essentially you go down there to take a Ibogaine. So it's administered by a pill. They hook you up to an EKG. They've got IVs. They run the whole thing. And you're basically under the medicine and inside of this gray day for about a 48-hour period. And it kind of conjures up every bit of trauma you ever had in your whole life. Even that shit you suppressed as a child, the things you don't even remember that are traumatic, it just, now it's part of your personality. Mm-hmm. Like things that'll set you off that you don't know why they do, you'll remember why they do now. It'll be a conversation with your grandfather when you were 6 and you're like, motherfucker. When you wake up the next day, you're reliving all of that. Emotionally, maybe not even visually. Like it's not like you set up and there's a pink elephant in the corner. Mm-hmm. It's like your memory has just been kicked on auto drive and I can just remember everything, every ounce of detail. Like we talk about like the weight of the t-shirt you're wearing, like you're reliving it, but you're perfectly still, arms are crossed, eye shades on, and you're just watching a 4K movie just from your own memory bank. It's weird. When you wake up the next day, you're so heavy with emotion. They give you 5-MeO DMT, which that's the most powerful psychedelic on earth. It's from the Sonoran desert toad. They scrape off the
Oh,
sweat glands.
that's the thing that they lick the fucking toad. People do that.
So they milk it,
Sure,
they dry it up.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man, it looks like you're smoking crack.
It doesn't make you like vomit when you do that?
No.
Okay.
But it's
No, I vomited fucking violently.
I've heard that.
on 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They do that for cancer patients too, I think.
Yeah, so to get them in grips coming to death, because
Yeah.
once you do, you have no fear of death. And
Yeah.
I'll say that, not an ounce of it. Like, I'm good. Whenever we're ready, I'm good. I don't care. Which is...
Did you feel afraid of death when you were in the teams?
Only for the backside.
Like not for you, but for the people behind you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like for my wife.
They call the 5 the ego killer.
Yeah.
Like all the shit you've been carrying around, and like you have to be willing for sure. But like the ego killer and being reborn again. I mean, some of the biggest things I came out of the whole thing with was like definitely understanding. Like I had a good childhood, nothing crazy traumatic, but just understanding everything I went through, and understanding why I was the way I was. Good, bad, ugly. Then actually seeing that in seeing that in other people, that you can kind of identify what they're carrying around a little bit. And especially like within the office, like how to approach them. DJ's got a great analogy. He gives a breed of dogs to everybody. Like, and super beaten pit bull, like you got to deal with a certain way. And a little Pomeranian.
Sure.
So that's a good analogy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did it in teams, kind of equate everybody in there to a dog, but it's really like your teaching style.
Yeah.
Like, I've had dudes in the teams before who, I'm hard motherfuckers, man, like just violent in nature. But during a debrief, if you were to put them on blast in front of the group, you'll get one of those in your whole life, dude. That dude will write you off. It'll be no different than a relationship that's so toxic you'll never speak to him again.
Yeah.
It's like that, but now you're together for 5 years.
Sure.
But they won't break character.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me. And they can't hide it anymore. But if you had that precursor to know, like,
How to handle that situation with
you
that
got to
person.
bring that dude in. You
Sure.
got to whisper that shit in his ear.
Yeah.
Like, you have to. If not, we're not getting rid of him. He's an amazing performer.
Yeah.
But right now, because you just put him on blast in front of 35 people, we'll never get him back on this side of it. Right? You got to know who you're dealing with.
Sure.
Some people, like, they look like a pit bull. Fucking Pomeranian, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you yell at him, dude, it's over. Like, it cower, and then it's really, yeah. Walking around with a beat puppy, can't have that.
No, that makes total sense.
Yeah, learning how to navigate human terrain.
The craziest thing that like I connected when you guys were talking about this last night, when you were saying you guys go through a lot of shit in the teams, overseas, in your service, but what this brought up for most people was shit from their childhood. And like the effect of those guys, they're not like that because of something they went through in their adult life. That's from when they were a child. And when you talk of like an ego death and stuff like that, it's all that ego is formed in your childhood and you don't even realize. And then stuff you go through in life, the way the trauma hits you and affects you is because of all that shit when you were a child. Yep. So like a lot of the work that I've done in therapy, and I haven't done this, but it has been going back to that part of my childhood. And I was similar to you. I didn't have a traumatic life. I didn't have all these crazy things. And you hear sometimes what other people go through and you're like, oh fuck, like my life is fine. I shouldn't even go back and fix that because it was okay. But these things affect you so much more than you understand. And obviously nothing's perfect. But being able to go back separate your ego, and it is a death of self in a way, and it's scary. Yep. The gray days you're talking about, like to release that is like your part of you is dying, and every part of your ego fights it because it doesn't want to leave. But I think that was the craziest thing, and the way you guys talk about that, I feel like it's such a big thing for people to learn, of going back to their childhood to fix it, rather than just thinking of what's going on right now in my day-to-day life to change, because your whole life is formed off what you went through in the past.
But the crazy shit about that medicine is the physical response to the 5-MeO, because you'll have guys, as soon as they take it, they'll ball up and they'll squeeze as tight as they can. They'll try to control it, and they either will and they'll weather the storm for 45 seconds, a minute, and then they'll have whatever experience. If they get you to open your arms up like Iron Cross style, and they've got a really good practitioner down there that runs you through. His name's Trevor, and he's like, do whatever you think is going to happen. If you're going to scream, scream. If you're going to explode, just explode. If you're going to die, die. Just don't try to stop it.
Surrender.
Just open your mouth, open your heart, and just let it go. Whatever's going to happen. I've got a video I'll play you later. Like, I screamed, dude. I sound like a fucking Viking. Just the loudest death roar you've ever heard in your life for 5 minutes. I don't remember doing it. I don't move. I throw in an Iron Cross, and I just scream as loud as it sounds like my lungs are turning inside out. He had an exorcism, a really rough one.
Yeah.
And now that I've seen him, kind of what they say, how I interpret is the harder you fight, the worse it's going to be. And like seeing guys, I did 6 rounds my first time back to back.
6 rounds the one time you were there.
Uh-huh.
Because were you fighting it the whole time? Is that why?
I didn't. He told me, he's like, you'll know when you're done. And I woke up and I looked at him. I was like, I didn't die. And he's like, hit it again. Did it again. I was like, I didn't die. And he's like, you're holding it. He's like, you're right on the edge. I'm like, and I changed my intention.
You like did it to die?
I did. When I smoked it, I told myself this is poison. It's like that was when I was at my worst possible depression. Like my entire life was unfolding around me. I didn't tell him. I didn't tell anybody else the fucking shit I was going through, this nightmare. I'm like, well, this is the easiest thing anyway. Like, if I do die, if I have a heart attack right now, best thing for me right now. Fuck it, let's go. Like, I'm going to hold this thing. I'm going to kill myself with it right now. And when I did that, 10 times the experience. So every time I do it now, that's exactly what I do.
Oh, shit.
It's like I've struggled with depression so long, and that's really my crutch. It's like, I'm naturally depressed anyway. I just mask it. And it's like, let's get it over with.
Do you believe that, like, same with you, that a lot of the stuff came from your childhood?
Yeah, 100%. And I think you've been compartmentalizing for so long.
Yeah.
And trying to hold all that shit into that jar and finally letting it go. Like, just the natural throwing up walls that you may not even recognize, but just from how you were raised, how you grew up.
How does that change you guys as fathers?
I think that's why ibogaine was so powerful. It's because the perception shift you'll have. So, like, I would have a traumatic experience with me and my father. I'd relive it. And inside of that dream, like, as real as I'm sitting here right now, I would shift and I would be him screaming at me at 5 years old, and it would flip and it'd be me screaming at my daughter, Lola. Like, she caught me in my worst possible time.
Sure.
So a lot of that is the regret that I hold, is my actions, my, losing my temper, just shit that I've said. It's an 8-year-old at that point. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of it's things you've done in the past and how you kind of analyze your past. Now what am I doing to my kids? So it's the guilt of that.
But your relationship now is better than it's ever been, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, dude, it's dynamite now. Like, my whole family, like, this is the best we've ever been. Like, I'm so fucking thankful the person they have now. But when I look back on it, I've been down in Mexico 4 times, taking the medicine 3, and I've seen almost 100 dudes go through, probably. No, maybe not 100, maybe 50. 50 dudes go through the whole process. In every single one, I've never seen a dude wake up that had any recollection, anything from military service.
And everyone's, you feel like, has gotten better since they've left there?
Every person. But every person, when they wake up, and that's why guys don't want to go, because they don't want to relive the trauma in the teams. They don't want to see dead friends. They don't want to relive that. I've never met a person who has. Like, I struggled to find, I mean, you're actively awake in this thing. So I'd sit up, I'd take a piss, and I'm like, okay, I really want to relive this experience, and I want to see this guy. I want to think about this. I want to say goodbye. I can't think of his fucking face. I can't think of his name. What the fuck?
It's kind of crazy how, like, your body knows, like, what did fuck with you and what didn't, right? Because, like, you're going down there and you're saying, like, this is the stuff that's fucked with me, and I think it's from my experience in the military, and you're, like, going there for that, and then you go there and it's like, no, none of that shit matters. This is the shit that really fucked you up. But, like, that's your conscious mind doing that without your control at all. Because if you had control, you would go straight back to the things that you thought were the cause of it.
And that's, like, what they say. They're like, don't try to script it.
Yeah.
Go in there with your intentions to be open, be creative, be playful. Just let it do what it's going to do. It knows exactly what you want. And I swear to God, dude, it does. Like, now that I've done it 3 times, I just go to be playful now. I'll take it. I'll go in. It's like, anything that's going to happen, it's going to make me a better version than I was 24 hours before.
So do you believe in, like some type of afterlife?
I'll tell you, when you smoke 5-MeO DMT, you will.
Yeah.
As soon as you feel, you're like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but that's something. Like, it feels like you're inside of the cosmos. I don't know, man. Like, everything you see, everything
like, not
you
like it doesn't have to be like religion based or whatever, because something. I'm the same way. Like, I have a very hard time struggling with, like, 5 different fucking Bibles and 10 different gods, but, like, part of me definitely believes that there is something after this.
And I don't know, but when you do that, you believe in it all.
Yeah.
Aliens, this, I mean, everything.
The world will look different to you afterwards.
Really?
Yep. Like, sounds will be different.
Walking through the San Diego airport.
What's the biggest change that, like, besides obviously, like, the depression not being there anymore, would you say, like, when you left and you came back and what was the biggest thing that, like, you still notice today that changed?
I never wanted to quit dipping tobacco.
Yeah.
And quit after 20 years in one shot.
But you said you still don't want to.
No.
But you just don't do it because you know it's not good for you?
I don't do it because when I finally get a can in front of my face, I smell it. I'm like, God damn. It's like my receptor will not allow it.
So like something when you were there made you like not like told you not to do it, even though like consciously you still want to do it sometimes.
Like they make you come off all your meds. They give you a piss test before you go down there, which I think is ironic. But you get off all your meds, SSRIs, Valium, whatever you're taking, you have to get off everything. But I mean, you're jittery, dude, because you can't be off that shit for 6 months.
Sure.
You're basically timing it almost like a prep.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks, I'm gonna be at my worst, lowest point. Then I'm gonna go to Mexico, and it's like you wake up the next morning like, bro, I've never felt like this. Like I had bad fibromyalgia, was on all these pain meds. Like, nah, brother, we're good. Like, we're good. Like all this weird pain and inflammation, that, and then my ability to show empathy during a conflict, like from action to reaction, was a very short fuse. My kids would do something, wife would do something, something at work, and I would just blow up, just straight to 10.
Yeah.
It's like I can feel it building, and most of the time I can talk myself out of it. I'm like, it's not even worth it, dude. It's not even worth blowing up right now. Or if I get a little snappy, I'll immediately revert back. Like, hey man, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's crazy, because one of the things you told me yesterday was like how you tend to like pull yourself out of your stance and put yourself in the other person's position and like see it from both sides. And I think like personally, that's been one of the things that has gotten me to where I am in life. And honestly, my wife taught me that, because when I met my wife and her mom have like a pretty tough relationship, and she always puts herself in someone else's position to try to find like a common ground to understand. She might not agree with it, but she'll understand where the other person's coming from. So now when I do go into any type of situation, I try to do that myself. And I've seen that like I've been able to solve way more conflicts and way more issues by doing that. Even though we might get to the same resolution, but it's like, look, like empathy towards somebody else and them understanding what you're going through or what they're going through makes them kind of open up to you and be like, okay, well, I kind of see where you're going through. I kind of see your point too. So it was unique that you said that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is empathy.
Yeah.
Understanding. Well, one, understanding why you are the way you are and some of your reactions, and that kind of allows you and gives you some space from your reaction time and understanding where people are coming from.
Well, yeah, and it helps you understand where people are coming from. Exactly. Like, you know, I've been in conversations with people where they've flipped out, and a normal person would be like, that guy's a fucking asshole. But then you have to kind of be like, look, I get it. Like, I understand why you're frustrated. I would be frustrated too, but like, I'm trying to work through this with you. And it's a different conversation once you open up to them and they understand where you're also coming from, right?
Yeah.
I've kind of like that conversation we're having about free will.
Yeah.
I won't get that deep into it.
It's right.
But like even the understanding of yourself, which is going back to your childhood, which is all of this, you understand what made you who you are. You didn't choose any of that shit. Especially when you're a kid, you don't choose anything that happens to you. Yeah. Where you're born, your parents, the city you're in the event, you're not choosing any of that, but it still shapes every part of who you are. It's not until you're an adult for you to go back and be self-aware, have empathy for yourself of what you went through in the past to be able to grow and understand. When you understand yourself, you can understand other people. And then you build that empathy for everyone around you in the world. And it's the ultimate cheat code of not only being happy, but being able to help everyone around you and being able to relate to people. And I think the fact that you guys are like some big badass dudes who've done some badass shit who can preach like empathy and like self-forgiveness and all this shit is just like the most fucking badass thing ever, you know? It's the coolest thing. I
think that's the biggest thing that's come out of it is like we can be vulnerable and we can talk about it and be real and talk about our mistakes because that's
because we talked about it yesterday. Everything is relationship driven. You know, everything in business, everything in life, it's all about relationships and enforcing them and nurturing them for long periods of time. And if you're an asshole, you're not going to be able to do that for a long period of time. And you'll see those people that come in your life and, you know, they can be there for a little bit and then they move to a different friend group. Then they move to a different friend group. And then you watch them and you're like, I know exactly who that person is, because they're not self-aware enough of themselves to understand what they're putting the people around them through, let alone themselves through. And I think it's cool to know that like you guys specifically have that same feeling, right? Because you got, out of anyone in the world, most people would be like, no, they're not like that. Like they're fucking just like, I mean, bro, if you look at you're gonna rip somebody's head off. You know, you just like, you have that look. Like in the
Thanks.
gym, we were talking about it. Me and Chris were like, fuck, dude, he's like built to fucking kill people. Like that's like what he's built for. But you have like that also, like, I mean, we talked about it. Like we feel like we've known you guys forever. We feel like you've been here 100 times already.
And dude, part of that when we started was kind of just a brand truth. And that's what we talked to. How do you prep for this, prep for that? Walk in there, fucking you.
Yeah, just be yourself.
Yeah, dude. Like, we don't need to put on a show for anybody. We don't.
Yeah.
Like, somebody drops a product, like, hey, we'll pay you $100,000 to shoot this.
Nah.
No.
I'll
Why?
say.
Because I don't like shooting that fucking
Yeah.
thing. But we'll pay you. I don't want your fucking money.
I mean, I have to commend Chris on this too, because some of the offers that he's gotten have been absolutely fucking nuts. And like, he'll come into my office and be like, what should I do? You know, like this is, you know, retarded money. Like I'm talking really fucking stupid money. And I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, I don't think it's your, and I'm being like the person, I'm trying to look at it from both sides and I'm like, fuck man. Like if it was me, I don't even know if I would say no, you know, but I'm like, I don't think you should. And like, we go through it and he's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, fuck man. Like, I don't even know if I would have done that if it was me.
There's a few numbers I look back on still like, fuck. But I don't actually regret it, of course. You know? I see a new car, I'm like, damn, I could have a few of those. It is what it is.
I think that's a good dynamic to have. I mean, DJ and I's approach are very different. Our strengths and weaknesses are very different. But being honest with each other and like full trust in each other is huge.
Yeah.
It's like kind of have similar situations or conversations and be able to be open and honest and not have ego about it.
Well, it's also too like your brand, right? Like, and you, like you said, like you're not going to post something or support something that you wouldn't fucking use every day. But that's why your brand is so strong, and that's why your following is so strong, because people respect everything that you touch because you actually touch it because you like it. You know, you see these kids and that's like our biggest thing with our influencers that we get is like, yo, don't fucking take a million different contracts from all these different companies because you'll make money quick, real fast, but then you're not going to sell shit because no one's going to believe anything you say. You know, and it's hard because they're 22 years old, 23 years old. They're getting offered 20 grand from this company, 20 grand from this company, 30 grand from this company a month. And they're like, they feel like they have to get it while they can. And I commend him again because, you know, he took the long route. You know, like, I mean, you were making fucking no money until, what, 3-4 years ago?
Until I came here, really.
Yeah. You know, and it was like, wasn't because he couldn't. It was because he like stayed true to his beliefs and he like, you know, he said, whatever I do next, it's going to be something that I'm a part of and I want to own it. And I want to be, you know, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build myself. I'm going to build my brand. I'm going to build something that lasts way longer than bodybuilding. And in the bodybuilding space, there's one other person that I can honestly say that's done that. And I would say it's Jay Cutler. You know, he's super relevant still. He does a great job. You know, he set himself up financially for the rest of his life, but most of these guys are doing it because they fucking have to, not because they want to. I mean, I've seen some of these bodybuilders that are 14, 15 years retired, flying all over the world for $5,000 just to be able to pay their bills. That's not the life you want to live, you know?
I'm curious too, going back to our last conversation, kind of, this is something I've thought about my whole life. Like, MJ was a guy I looked up to when I was getting into it, you know, and when I was my first Olympia, listening to Tim Grover's book, Relentless, all this shit, just like fuck everyone, this mindset. And it never really was me, but I still channeled that for a while, and I've kind of grown into a much different version of myself. You guys tapping into this more mental health, feeling your feelings, empathy. Obviously, you still work fucking hard, but you allow all that. Do you think that would have held you back or put you even your life's at risk or your team at risk if you had allowed more of that to seep in while you were actively in service? Or do you think it's something that you wish you had been able to apply earlier? Because like it's easy to have like something you've learned in the future and being like, I could have done this my whole life, but maybe you wouldn't have gotten through all that and got to the point to be able to learn it. You know, life's...
But there's also like a huge act of selflessness in the military. You know, that's the part that I think you're missing. Like they're built to basically like die for other people.
I'm not taking away from that at all. I'm just saying like the aspect of what you, like you said, you didn't talk about mental health and your feelings and shit. It was more so like...
Most of that, I think, is just the culture.
Yeah.
People didn't talk about it. They wanted you to be a community, wanted you to be a family. But the same thing, like, we're very good at blocking out negativity.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring that bullshit over here. You want to do a divorce? Don't bring that shit over to me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we care, but to a certain extent, like, as long as you show up and work
just do your
on
fucking
time
job.
and you're fucking high and performing, I can trust you in my life. Like, I don't really care you have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
I'm damn sure not going to ask why you have a drinking problem. And it didn't really become until kind of mainstream. Now, like, people are talking about mental health. Like, we're sick of all our buddies killing themselves. It's like, why are they doing it? I wonder why they are. because now they don't have any purpose. Now they're drinking too much. They're going through a shitty divorce. They don't want to play the game anymore. They're taking too many pills, too many injuries. Now the job's taken away from them. Now they have no reason to wake up. Like, well, fuck, they don't want to.
Yeah.
Now they're killing themselves. It's like, I think that's what we do better than most is, me specific, I'll just fucking say it. Like, bro, I've been exactly where you are. We talk about like the role models, the people you're trying to chase. And when you don't have that guy, you have to become your own guy. It's like, I feel like those are the people that do it the best. Like, I am trying to build the best possible vessel to represent that. Like, this is what I think deserves to sit at that table with that team.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, we all agree. We all basically look the same, right? Like, this is what we want to be. This is how we want to perform. This is the mindset we have. Well, I'm going to beat the mental health war drum.
Do you think that it would help if this was beaten while you guys were in the military?
I'll say like, I wouldn't want to change anything either of us went through, because I don't think we would be like just at this table today and where we are today.
Sure.
I definitely personally think like what we've learned and all the lessons we've learned, like we want to help the next generation not make the same mistakes we have.
As far as like going into it, understanding what's going to happen before they get out of it.
Yep.
And be put in a horrible situation.
One of the things we push a lot is the importance of the team. Like SWAT team guys, Navy SEALs, group, raw, everybody.
Sure.
And it's like, well, how do you make a really good team? Get high-end performers. Well, how do you get them to do it in unison? Communication.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of us stuff we do is nonverbal communication.
Figure it the fuck out, yeah.
But it's like, if we all locked in this room right now and we're really trying to deep dive and I'm really trying to understand you, your OODA loop, your whole process, I'm really trying to help you because I know there's something off with you. Unless I ask you, unless you say it, I'm not a mind reader. But it's like, if I can't share inside of this room with these 7 fucking people, we've been together for a decade.
Yeah.
I know everything about you.
Yeah.
I know the way you smell at 2:30 in the morning when you haven't taken a shower in 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, I can pick you out just by touch and feel of shoulders. Like, I know everything about you, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, but I have no idea why I hear you crying in the middle of the fucking night on Zoom.
Yeah.
Like, talk to me about it.
Yeah.
They won't. It's like, I wish I could have gone back because I honestly think that would have made the team stronger. Like, when you have these significant losses, like, I'm throwing up, I'm crying so fucking hard. And then I go to work and I wall it up and nobody else even addresses it. Bitch, I know you are too.
Yeah.
And now you can't deny it. I know you are.
Yeah.
I know that fucked you up. I know that put some serious doubt. I know your wife was asking you. I know the pressure we're all on now.
Well, because you're absolutely right. Like, mentally, right? Like, when you're dealing with something like that, as much as you want to say it doesn't affect you, it absolutely fucking affects you.
Yes.
So, like, if these guys are performing at a fucking super high level and they're killing it and doing everything they're supposed to be doing with that behind them, like, what could they have been doing if they didn't have that behind them?
Exactly. How much better would this team be if we had open communication and I knew exactly how to foster you to make you
get better,
your most optimal self? Well, I know right now because of the shit he had going on in his childhood, like, he really needs positive affirmation. Like, I really need to walk up and be like, dude, I saw that thing you did last night. Like, fucking impressive, dude. That little slap on the ass for a Navy SEAL, bro, I'm telling you, it brings tears. I got goosebumps thinking about it. Because I've had people in my life that have done that have walked up, walking off a helo and put their hand on my shoulder like, bro, that was a fucking badass move tonight. Fuck, man. Like, that's like the culmination of my being. This is my whole life in this fucking helicopter right now. Like, fuck, thank you, right? Like, just a little bit of that. Yeah. If you never do it, and a lot of times guys just don't. Like, to suffer in silence is a big one. Like, act like you've been there before. Well, sometimes people need it. And if you understand the team better, you can elevate the entire group just by a couple positive installs. But if you're not openly communicating, like in everything you do, and that's why we talk about the importance of team time. Get on the same room team. We're in the gym at the same time, eating breakfast at the same time, watching the same movies. I've already watched Game of Thrones. I'm rewatching it because you 7 haven't fucking seen it. Right? It's being in the room and sharing energy. Yeah. Bro, everything gets elevated. Everything. Every high-performing team.
If this is like probably going to be kind of maybe an uncomfortable question, but like if all of the things that you feel or that you believe cause you to go into these types of depressions come from childhood, right? Basically is what we said from doing your experience. Why do you, at what point in the, like what point of being in the military or being a SEAL and coming out does it cause more people to go get depressed?
I think, go ahead. You ready to go?
Yeah. Is it just like the idea of like you're expecting all this stuff that they tell you you're going to get and you get out and it doesn't happen?
I think a lot of that, for me personally, I think for most of the guys, there's a very specific individual that joins the military.
Sure.
Very specific joins special operations.
Sure.
And a lot of that is, it's like a coping mechanism or shielding mechanism for something in your childhood.
Sure.
You either want to be that guy because your mother was abused and you want to be able to protect people.
Sure.
There's something that's driving you to go do that. And then, to be honest, it's so fucking hard to become a Green Beret. It's so hard to become a Navy SEAL. That by the time you do it, it's the only thing you've ever done. Most of these guys join at 18 years old.
Sure.
It's the only thing you've known. The whole vessel you become, the persona, the clothes you wear, your speech, everything you listen to, the movies, the music, everything is around that fucking job.
Yeah.
And on Tuesday, when you don't do it anymore, you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And you realize your entire life has been not wasted, but it's been put on something you can never take with you. It's never going. It's not a 401k. It's not a fucking home. Like, it's gone. And
So
it's going that way.
Do you kind of relate, and not like totally related, but like think of it as like you guys were like the professional athletes of the like the best of the best of the military, right? And like you see it in professional athletes all the time where they retire and they like they're just like fucking totally lost because their whole life was doing X, Y, and Z, and then they stop it, and then they're like, okay, what do I do now? You know, that you lose the team, you lose like that camaraderie, you lose all of that, and it's like gone like in 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think this story is universal on that. Like we were talking about with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like he lost his entire family for one more.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and the familiarity, being comfortable in the environment. It's like the next day when you retire, like it's gone.
Yeah.
Your badge doesn't work. Like
You're out of the group chat, no email, nothing.
the security of it. You gave everything for it.
You'll never put it back on. It's like I retired when I was 36.
That's fucking
But we've
wild.
tried to create the same culture and environment, like forefront at our company, and have those things, like take all the amazing things that we learned and experienced and implement them, and any of the negative kind of terrible things, get rid of. It's like, I can't tell you how many times, I hate to compare this to your latest win, but I was like, imagine doing that. Next day it's like, cool, so here's your next task.
Yeah.
Like you could have done this better. That was pretty much the environment.
Mhm.
It wasn't like DJ said, like pats on the back. No.
No, there's no fan. There's no celebration. Like you never get back. You never throw a balloon. Like you never. It's like, oh, everybody bring it in. Like never. No matter what you do, it's like, cool. Everybody go to bed. See you tomorrow.
It's like we wrestle a lot with it. I know I've heard you say this too. It's like you have an amazing product release, or you don't really recognize like how amazing it was. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that was messed up. That's fucked up. You should have done this.
Yeah.
Vice, like the positive reinforcement of like that was amazing, and positively giving good feedback, constructive feedback. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like that's definitely something that I have to work on all the time
Yeah,
too.
I
You know,
do
my
too.
mom is like very big on that, and she's like she's been trained like corporately by like some of the best people in the world, and it's like always start with like the positives and come in with the like constructive criticism after. And it's like I just my brain doesn't work that way, so it's hard for me to like look at anything and be like, this is great. Even this, like I look at this, like I come in every day and I'm like, the floor is dirty, I have to clean this up, like this shouldn't be like this, you know, the warehouse should be clean. And I never sit out there and like stare at this building and I'm like, holy fuck, like we started this thing in a room the size of this fucking room, you know.
should.
I know.
Yeah.
I know I should.
You should.
I absolutely agree with you.
And he's the same way.
But
I
it's
have to
like-
do it with him all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
My shit stems from being a child, and what I realized was I was very much raised performance based
Yeah.
and naturally defensive from that.
Yeah.
So it was like I could win whatever
Didn't
race,
matter.
whatever sport, but was it your best time?
Yeah.
And so now it just translated through my whole life.
That's
Like,
how I'm
and
the same.
we're not going to talk
childhood.
about it. The performance will talk for itself.
Yeah.
It's like not everybody kind of functions that way,
I'm
but understanding.
Literally, bro,
Yeah.
like my childhood was I was always just trying to like make my dad proud, you know, like in a way. And it was like never could do it. So I always felt like I got fucking kicked in the teeth every day. And it was like, okay, well, I'm just going to fucking keep trying and get better and get better and get better. And I never did, but it made me a better person, I think.
But not to go super deep, but it's going to be super deep. Like that's how you felt love.
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's how I felt love. That's how I
Yeah.
recognized love.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
it wasn't until my second or third journey out to Mexico that I actually realized why I am the way I am. And it's
Yeah.
really, it's like a power struggle, me trying to gain attention from my father.
Same exact
When he
thing.
loved being a Navy SEAL
Yeah.
more than he did me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now I know it.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's really why I wanted to be a SEAL, is because I was trying to find something that I love more than,
Common with him. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Yeah.
now, shit.
I mean, the amount of people of like
Dude, it's funny you say, like, I was talking to my wife 2 nights ago before we came down here. It's like, I'll have conversations with my 10-year-old now. It's going to sound fucking cheesy. That I'm proud of because I'm having. Because I'll be 3/4 of the way through this and I'm like, my father never had a conversation like this with me. Never. He never sat down and asked me to.
Bro, so I'm at home right now. Like, that's the biggest thing.
Right? Yeah. It's like, I want her to be in such a better spot than I am. And I think if I just say it, if I'm just open completely, like, dude, I don't know how to fucking do this, man. You're my first kid. Yeah. Like, I'm learning this day by day, and I'm trying to help you as much as I can. You got to talk to me, and we'll have a conversation just like this with a 10-year-old.
That's so fucking cool.
And I'm like, fuck, man, I wish that I had a version of me back in 1985 that would sit down and, like, truly gave a fuck. Like, I truly care now. Yeah. And, I'll walk down and I'm like, dude, I just had the best conversation with her. And it's like, it makes you feel proud. Like, I stopped what I was doing. I got off that goddamn telephone.
I swear to God, I don't think I've ever had a conversation like that with my dad in my whole life.
Dude,
I don't see it with your kids. Like,
I didn't either.
I swear to God. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like, going back, I'm like, nah, it never happened.
Just trying to be a better
talk
version
to you to talk to you. Didn't talk to you to listen.
Yeah. It's
important. So yeah, that's what comes out of Mexico.
I need to go to Mexico.
I'm fucking ready. I'll go right now.
If you guys want to go, we'll set up. We'll do a private trip. It'll be easy.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, when you look at successful people, I guarantee you the reason they're there is because they're good at suffering.
Yeah,
they're like chasing something.
You use the word compartmentalizing. I bet you can go to almost any successful person, they can compartmentalize. And when you're in something like the military, you can consistently suppress everything and compartmentalize. Well, I'll just put that on the side because I have to focus on this. Push that aside, focus on this.
Organized. It's just a bunch of shit cluttered in there, right? You have to have a method to it. Like, why do you compartmentalize? What should you be compartmentalizing? What do you have to compartmentalize every day? And it's like, you think about the stress a fucking cop has. Like, you just walked into a call where a mother just drowned her 4 kids in a fucking bathtub. Like, you got to fish those kids out of that bathtub and then go home to your 4 kids and pretend like it didn't happen. Like, you ain't going to tell your wife that. I know you're not. No. You're not talking to your kids about that shit. You're trying to hide them from evil. But that is still resonating. Every time you get out, you grab your 3-year-old and put her in the bathtub. That's what you flash back to. I know you do. Like, I hear these stories, pulling fucking infants out of microwaves. Bro. Like, you got to go home after that shit? No. Like, there's no therapy for those fucking guys. They can't talk about that. No. I was like, dude, just think about that, man. Like, I'm telling you, we have seen some horrific shit. I've never had to do that on a 1-hour recall and go back home and pretend like it didn't happen. I've seen some terrible shit. But I've had weeks, months to be able to process it before I go home. Right? I've never had to drive home with it on my shoes. Yeah. Like, I don't know how to do that, but I'll tell you what, you better learn how to compartmentalize, and it better be fucking structured. So we give them tips, like, how do you do it? Yeah. I do mine on I set up my day, but they're purpose-built, like little checkpoints or anchors. My drive to and from work takes me 12 minutes. Those 12 minutes are how I dial it up and dial it down. When I'm driving into work, I power down the home life. Not thinking about kids, not thinking about the wife, not thinking about any of that bullshit. I'm just thinking about work. Yeah. When I drive home, the radio changes. Yeah, the radio changes. Everything gets dialed back down. Yep. I'm not thinking about work. I'm trying to close out social media, put my phone on Do Not Disturb at 6 p.m. Don't fuck with me, man. Like, I'm trying to be a full-time dad right now. I'm trying to be a full-time husband because I only get him. I mean, you guys will see it, dude. Like, you'll be at work all day. You'll come home at 5 p.m. You're only going to get him for 3 hours. Yeah. Dude. Those kids going to be in bed by fucking 8. Yeah. When they get homework, then what? Somebody's doing homework with them, and you put them to bed. It's like, dude, I'm getting like 20 hours a week with my kids here. I'm like trying to, I don't want to be away from them.
The thing we talked about was communication. Like, you have to communicate. That shit's not going to get better over time if you don't communicate it. But we reference is like, we were always 100% switched on with whatever we were doing, and we didn't have dials. It was like, whether it's in the military, at work, it's like, I'm switched on at work, whether I'm at home, it's a weekend, doesn't matter. It's like how much trauma that's creating. It's like if you can create dials where you can dial, I'll say family time, 100% down, work time, 100% up, fully focused, present, be able to take work, dial it all the way down, family time, personal time all the way up. And you consistently have to monitor those because certain dials will switch and recognize it. But it's like, that's the biggest thing, like the communication and developing dials. Because I mean, you guys both know like what it takes to do that 100% focus, like the business, everything. It's like it'll spill over, and it's like the dials.
That's kind of what I was asking before. If you guys thought, if you had applied this when you were in the teams, if it would have negatively impacted. And I mean, what I've experienced in my own preps too, nothing compared to what you guys do, but like if you're on a mission, put that shit aside and get the job done. But when you come home, you can't just compartmentalize that continuously. You have to have someone or some way to communicate about it and bring it up and process it rather than keep pushing it down. So knowing when to do it and when not to is what the difference between fucking a lot of depression or happiness.
It's really, we talk to these guys about, like, 38 years old. It's taken me this long to actually understand the concept of a dial, because it was so much easier just to flick it. Like, I'm not good at multitasking on a bunch of different genres. Like, if it all supports this one thing, all day.
Sure.
I can do a million things at once.
Sure.
But I can't bounce back and forth outside of this lane.
Sure.
Like, it's not how I learn. It's not how I perform. Not at a super optimal level. Like, I can do a handful of things really, really high level. I'd rather be able to do that than 100 things at 10%. Like, fuck that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's like, I really don't want to do that with my family time anymore, because I've sacrificed them this whole time, and a lot of it I feel guilty for it. I was like, if I would have had this dial concept then and I could have actually wound it down, would it have sacrificed me at work? And that's what we talk about. When you're establishing the baseline on that job, it's so much easier if you do the James Bond approach. We want single orphans, no tie downs, no family commitments. We just want you to do this one job. You're like purpose built. It's so much easier to become a super high level of whatever when no distractions. But then when you get to the top, well, now you have nothing to anchor you. You have no reason to not be reckless. It's like, well, shit. You got to have some kind of balance in there. But it's very hard to shut off your family. Like, guys who go through training who have a wife and a kid, like, that's made for 18-year-olds, man. Not grown-ass men with families and commitments. I couldn't imagine going through buds with a family. I could not imagine it. That has to be the most stressful shit on earth, and I'd say that's why most of those guys don't make it. There's so many things competing, pulling bandwidth and energy and emotion from them. It's like, I don't do good with that. But I think once I got to like the 4, 5, 6 year mark in the team, it's like, if someone would have gave me the dial concept then, okay. Like, my foundation is concrete enough. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
I can power this thing down at 4 p.m. and go home. It's a training day. It's a fucking Friday.
Yeah.
I don't need to be a Navy SEAL on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I can crank it back up.
Yep.
Let me reset my whole baseline.
Yeah.
Powering it down. I got on Birkenstocks with flip-flops. I got my flannel. What it takes. And then for me, dude, I start to resent it. And I told my wife that. It's like, it's so hard to do this job on a 12-hour opposite schedule. Flip it on reverse. You're morning, I'm sleeping. So I have to sacrifice my sleep, my bandwidth, in order to just make communication with you. And all you do is give me shit because I'm gone.
Yep.
Dog got run over by a truck, hot water heater blew, tree fell in the fucking van, just like everything.
Yeah.
Honey, I can't deal with this shit right now.
Yeah.
And you're like, it'd be so much easier if I was
sure.
single, right?
Yeah.
But when you come back home, you really want a fanfare.
Of course.
Everything's just pulling on you. It's like heavy as the crown, man.
Fuck.
It's like just some of this shit you deal with.
That's where I fucking been so lucky, and we've worked for it, me and Courtney. Like, it's been years of getting there, but this year she learned that dial even, and she knows I'm in prep. I gotta check out. I gotta go do what I gotta do. Like, if I'm gonna be the 1% best bodybuilder in the world, I'm not gonna be the 1% best relational person in the world. But she's like, all right, it's gonna be 4 weeks. I can dial it back, whatever he needs to do. I understand that, but I better be the one dialing it back afterwards and leaning back into her. And it's like a give and take where both of us are sharing that, like, dial back and forth. And it's been hard to learn it, but it's
that communication.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be vulnerable.
No.
Yeah, but like, that's the way you're able to develop and stay like strong.
Yeah.
And for her to recognize that, I've heard Dom say it too, like the amount of stress, like they don't want to put stress on you, like it's focus time, like, and then, all right, cool, done. Now here's a little stress.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
literally,
I need you to dial this back up real quick.
After Olympia, I was like, by the way, this person quit, this happened, we lost this account, you know, but like, no, it's true. Like, you don't want to put anything on. I mean, ultimately, the goal is to make everyone better and great. Like, I knew what he needed during that time, and I was going to do whatever I had to make sure it didn't affect him at all.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the communication is big, but also, like, you guys get this too. It's like the people around you have to understand what you go through.
And some of that, like the communication, I remember the time I finally confessed to my old lady about the pressure I was on. And it's a very unique one because my wife's a Gold Star wife. She was married to a SEAL, got killed early on.
Yeah.
And I know that shouldn't be a thing, but it fucking is.
For sure.
It's like, I don't want her to be a 2-time widow.
Yeah.
It's like, that means more to me than most things. It's like, but for guys to be able to say that to their wives, like, the most stressful thing in my life is not getting killed for you.
Yeah.
If I didn't have you with these kids and I had to get killed in some random country nobody can find on a map, it's like I went out on my shield, right? This is the culmination of my whole being, so I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, but I really don't want to lose what I have now. It's like, that's a lot of pressure. I confessed it to her one day. It's like 3/4 of my day is consumed with trying not to get killed just so you don't have to get a knock on the fucking door. It's like, it makes me resent you. It's like, I never had that pressure before.
Yeah.
I could go in at 100%. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I really don't want to lose this. Like, now I've really fallen in love with you. I've fallen in love with the kids. Now I don't want to lose my position at this fucking table, man. I was like, and I also have that star hanging next to it. She's already been through this, man. She won't survive a second round. It's like, you're really going to do this to her?
Yeah.
Then it makes me not want to do the job anymore. It's like, well, now I have this power struggle. Like,
Sure.
God, I want to do it, but it's only because I love you. But this is all I know how to do. I spent my whole life developing this, and now what do you do?
Yeah.
How did you manage that minor, major, little bit of resentment that ended up on her?
Luckily, when I figured out that was actually what I was going to do, I was kind of on my transition out. I only had 2 or 3 rotations left. But there's nothing you can do.
She also didn't know the whole time until you told her.
I told her, and then it's that power of compartmentalizing. Like, when I go to work, I go to work.
Yeah.
Like, don't call me. I don't want to hear about it. It's like when I come home.
But she had to have empathy towards you after she heard that to say, fuck, like, I wish you would have told me this earlier because maybe I wouldn't have bothered you with all this bullshit. And that's the communication part of it.
Exactly. It's like, I'm not telling you you're not a mind reader. I'm expecting you to be.
Correct.
It's like, give her the tools. Tell her.
That's it.
Well, I don't want to show weakness because then I am weak. It's like, no, I'll show you how fucking strong I am. Watch me cry real quick.
For real.
It's like, no, man. It's like, I can cry and I can still kill you in the corner. Because I'm not crying about killing you. Like, we're good. Like, like I'm crying because I got trauma. I'm processing right now. Fuck.
We've been talking about a lot about communication, but it's like there's so many different ways he could have told her that.
Yeah.
And in the middle of a fight is not the time for her to understand.
Is that when you told her?
No. Like, I'm just like referencing like shit lessons I've learned. It's like we're in the middle of a fight and you start throwing like, well, this is what's on my plate. Now it's just this back and forth, so it's not really received, so she understands. And so it's like finding that right time to like sit down and kind of talk about it. Like, I look at both you guys are lucky. Like, your fiance was Miss Olympia, like, she understands like what that takes. Your wife was with you before any of this started. Like, she's had a front seat at all.
And like, don't get it twisted. Like, I have the same issues. Like, my wife will, but it's she's right. Like, my wife understands what I have to do, but like, you know, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. I don't think I've seen my wife for like longer than an hour for the last like 3 days or since we got back.
I was just getting you in more shit up there.
Were you?
Yeah, I was like, Dom's gonna move to Virginia. He's forgotten about you. She's like, yeah, I figured.
But it's like, you know, the communication aspect of her, and she's like my dial. Like, I don't have one yet, I don't think, and I'm learning to have one, but like, I listen to her. So if she's like, yo, like, I need you to put all that shit away for a minute and like just give me attention, and like, this is like, and she will never do it if like, obviously I'm in the middle of like a big deal, or if but she knows when I'm not, and she knows when I'm just like being overly productive at some points, and she'll be like, yo, turn your phone off, like, I need you now. And like, if she tells me that, I know like she's not fucking around. Like, she'll kill me if I don't give her my time. So it's been, I'm grateful to have someone like that in my life, because like, I mean, he sees it too. Like, she works alongside us all day, you know, so she's here just as much as I'm here. And then when I have to do other shit, she's cool with it. But I don't think anyone would be able to deal with this if they didn't see it from the beginning. Yeah. If it didn't like naturally evolve and get bigger and bigger, I don't think it would be okay.
Yeah. It's crazy just to see it. I mean, like, all the little steps, like, behind the backside of success.
Yeah.
Or like what it actually takes to get there.
Yeah.
Did you watch Michael Jordan's Last Dance?
Yeah.
Bro, I fucking cried in that twice.
Yeah.
I was sitting there with my old lady, and I was like, me and Burton were talking about upstairs, we saw that poster in your office. It's like, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era, but I was so young that I didn't appreciate what I was seeing. And because of storytelling back in the day, they never told you the backside, the mindset piece, the influence he had over everybody else, how far he was willing to go. And it's like, dude, that could have quadrupled the shape that he actually had on that whole generation if we could have told that story better. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing now?
Yeah.
Just, dude, that shit is so powerful, man.
Yeah.
Just the mindset, the work ethic, and then how it transcends that one thing he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the J.J. Watt model.
Yeah.
It's like, me and my wife are super tight with that dude.
Yeah.
Talked to him right when he was transitioning out, hit a couple major injuries, and call him right after he's in a hospital and trying to get his mind right. And I told him the same thing when he's going to transition out. Like, you better wake up the next morning and do your same morning routine. You better hit the fucking gym. You better be on your diet. Everything needs to stay consistent, because if not, that fall from grace is going to be fucking hard, man.
I can only imagine.
And we talked about it. He's like, I got to stay busy. I got to stay in constant
Yeah.
motion. So he just took the same concept. Now it's in business.
Okay.
Like, bought a soccer team. He's got supplements. He's got all kinds of shit
Good for
now.
him.
Like, he's killing it.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to stay in motion, because
Sure.
his whole thing was just about being a football player.
Yep.
And yeah, hit a super high level, but it's a fast burnout rate. And if that's the only thing you do, if you don't make yourself a transferable formula,
Yeah.
bro, it's over. You only play football for so long.
Yeah.
To have you set yourself up, staying with the progression. Not
So
just
cool how
swap
it's
out
like
the
so
instinct.
relatable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people don't realize how it's relatable to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And those daily anchors are huge. Depending on the schedules and all that, but being able to have those daily anchors, even if your schedule is undependable, that allows you that time to
Yeah,
reset.
like your non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Like you said it the other day. Like, I do all my shit before this time because I don't give a fuck what I have to do the rest of the day. It's done, and I can give my energy to something else now. But I have to take care of myself first.
And even like we had a guy in our life, and I know it's rough for some people, but they'd wake up super early in the morning. They'd wake up at 5 a.m. and him and his old lady would have one cup of coffee every single morning, watch the sunrise every day,
Yeah.
7 days a week, no
Yep.
matter what.
Yep.
It's like, that's our morning routine. We do
Yeah.
that together because we sync up. Shit, man. Okay, like, no, wherever we are, that's what we do. We do our morning routine together.
Yep.
Like a small daily anchor. That could be whatever mantra you're kind of listening to. That could be a podcast on the way in the morning just
Yeah.
to reset the baseline.
Just
It
do
could be
the same
Wim Hof.
thing.
It could be something. But it's like, yeah, what's your daily anchor to where you know you're calibrated?
Yeah.
Like, I've got a morning routine for like putting this shit on.
Yeah.
I put it on in a very specific order. I don't rush through my routine. I don't just randomly get dressed because I'll forget shit.
Sure.
It's like, that's just it's a small check-in, but
Yeah.
you know, the bathroom routine. That's the first thing I
Sure.
do in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm out the door.
That's fucking cool.
Small steps.
I think this was the best podcast we've ever done for sure. It's
Yeah.
probably the longest one too. Where are we at?
Hour and a half.
Dude,
So
stoked to be here, man.
Raw skydiving 24.
Fucking
Hell
dude.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Dog, dude.
Yeah.
Let's
Bro, I
fucking
gotta
go.
get my jumps in. I want to be able to do it with. I did it tandem once. I want to be able to do it alone.
Hey, we can just like raise money for it too to get you out of the plane.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we can do it. Hey, we can go to DeLand. We can do it in DeLand.
What's
Get
that?
that, DeLand, Florida.
Oh,
We could jump out there for sure. That's one of the best centers to go, or Eloy, Arizona.
I need,
Depending on where
you,
guys
I need
wanna
to
go.
like. Maybe we need to go to Mexico before I do this.
For
Yeah.
sure.
do before
Yeah,
and
Mexico.
after. You
Yeah.
see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, real talk. If you guys want to do the Mexico thing,
No, I'm
let me know.
in.
I already told Courtney about it last night.
Yeah,
and
man.
she's like, "Well, I'm pregnant. I have a baby now." I'm like, "I'm not talking about you, dude. I got it. I want to do this." And she's like, "All right, I'll let you go do it. Just promise you come back." I'm like, "I'm gonna come back."
where are you going?
You're gonna like die.
It's like you're a packet of peanuts. We're not going to miss fucking play shoes. We're not going to lose him.
I'm like, I'm with these guys. That's gonna happen.
Yeah, dude, we
Yeah.
got it. Yeah, we got it, dude. We be good.
I'm in. Like, and
Okay.
no, let me know when you want to go, and I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll talk
Here's a
later. Steve.
question for me, but to you two. Most bizarre operation you guys have done where you like get back to base, you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, in an almost humorous way.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot, man, and a lot of them are. I feel like the structure you're assaulting. Like, we hit some Bedouins, so basically like people live out in the mountains, like
Mhm.
kind of like tents. And we did some assault. This guy ran up this. It looked like Everest, and we're climbing on all fours to try to get this dude. But when we went inside, they had super low ceilings, and you hit your head on the way in, so you like ducked. And we came back out, and never forget my team leader. He looked like Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. Like, he's a fucking freak, just a huge dude, big long beard, real scary. And he wiped the top of his helmet. He's like, "What the fuck? What the dude? That's shit. There's shit on my there's shit on my fucking helmet. There's shit on my helmet." And we run back inside, and it's not a low ceiling. It's grates they built up, and these people are making shingles for a house they're going
From
to build
shit?
out of human shit, and they're rolling it in sheets and setting up on there to dry. So it was low, like 5'8", so it hits his helmet on the way in and scuffs it, but a shit smear from here to here on the top of his helmet. And when you look down, I mean, it's big, dude. It's probably, I don't know, 50 feet long, a huge, like a circus tent, but just covered in shingles. That's what they're doing. They're building their house out of it. That, or like, you'll go in, you'll be clearing a compound, and in one of the rooms, I mean, way smaller than this, there'll be a 400 or 500 pound cow just in the middle of it. They brought it in there as a calf, they staked it to the ground, and it's grown to be a full size, and they can't get out the door, so they'll slaughter it in the middle of the house. They'll just kill it there, clean it, and that's just where it'll be.
Jesus.
Just weird shit, dude.
How'd I know it was gonna be a poo story?
Yeah, a poop story.
It's everywhere.
Oh,
Open sewers.
Oh, the whole country's just covered in shit.
Ugh.
You can smell it at 5,000 feet.
At 5,000 feet?
Fuck yeah, on final. Oh, the whole cabin fills with you. Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, open sewers.
I was like, we're here, guys.
Yeah.
All right, jump.
They'll be burning bricks of weed. Stay warm.
Weed.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of weed over there.
That's
A
wild.
lot of weed, lots of heroin.
Did they grow it naturally or they grow it?
They grow it like a cash crop.
Yeah.
So they must have excess of it if they're burning it to stay warm.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
DJ took the top. I
Unfortunately.
was gonna say the cows in the room.
Cows in the room.
Calves in our room.
I keep telling everyone that County Coup story you told me up in Virginia.
Can't tell that.
True.
Can't tell that.
Kevin's like, well, I already told everyone, so it doesn't matter.
I already told everybody
I've been
on the
telling
podcast.
everybody this top secret thing I'm not supposed to tell anyone.
Yeah. That was great.
What else? Anything?
No? I think you guys went over everything.
That was literally awesome.
Yeah, dude, pleasure being here, fellas. Like, the hospitality you guys show is second to none. The crew here, fucking amazing. We obviously had them up in Virginia, but coming down here and seeing the whole show, it's so cool to see. Like, this
Yeah.
is like in-state level shit. Like, holy fuck. And to realize it just started for you guys,
Yeah.
it's crazy to fathom, dude.
It is pretty great. We haven't even had time to renovate the building. It's-
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
Yeah.
going so fast when you walk in. Like, it feels, that's why I told him, I was like, I feel like I'm pulling up a fucking Tony Stark's building right now.
Dude,
What-
it looks like the Men in Black building.
Yeah.
Exactly. I took
Yeah.
a picture of it like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking fanboy. Like, I took
I
a
remember
picture
when
like,
we were looking at it, I
it's
looked at it, I was
crazy.
like, damn, this looks like the Men in Black building. Like, we need to get this one.
Yeah, dude, like it's sick. And when
Yeah.
you walk in, you're like, not even humble beginnings. Like, it's growing so fast, you don't even have time to like
Yeah.
fully field day the thing out. It's like it's going too quick, going too quick.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Fucking first world problems. Dude.
Yeah, no,
we
for
do have
sure.
to slow down and refine it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
much
mean, everybody
respect,
does.
though. We know this shit didn't happen overnight.
No.
Yeah.
fuck.
And know so many hours like
Yeah.
just went into it. So congratulations,
Thank
you
you,
guys.
man. We appreciate it.
It's impressive.
Good for you.
All right.
All right, yeah, well, thank you guys for hopping on, and next time we'll be up in Virginia, hopefully, and
Hell yeah.
I can catch some workouts with you guys.
Yes.
Plenty more of these to come, hopefully.
Appreciate it.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you.